Hello and welcome to Find Your Freedom, a podcast dedicated to helping you truly find freedom in all aspects of life. Join your hosts and their expert guests as they share practical tips and strategies for finding more freedom in your life. It's time to take control of your life and create the future you want. Let's find your freedom. Here are your hosts, Lenny the Boss and Omid Rad Investor.
Boom, 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 boom. Once again, we are back at Find Your Freedom. And one of the things we love, before we introduce this super cool guest we got today, right? You know, one of the things we love to do is help you find your freedom. So we put together a small package for you. It's easily downloadable. Just go to www.findyourfreedomrei.com/freedom kit. Once again, findyourfreedomrei.com/freedom kit. All right. Man, we got this guy here, man. You know, honestly speaking, we just was talking, before we jumped on this. And, man, he is going to sit here and unleash the beast of mindset on all of you. So I don't even really want to sit here and go any further. I want to jump right into this interview because I want to make sure we get every ounce of everything that's in them into all of you. So with that being said, brother, how are you feeling, man?
How you doing?
Awesome. Hey, man. Before we start jumping into your fantasticness, can you give just the listener just a little background, about yourself?
Yeah, I'll give you some highlights. My name is Yonatan Waxman. My friends call me Yoni. Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Shout out to the Kelsey brothers last night from the Super Bowl. What up? I would say I originally come from the consumer products world. I got into the Airbnb game right when COVID started. I did an arbitrage unit in downtown Cleveland the weekend of the NBA All-Star game. If you can't already tell, I'm a huge sports fan, specifically NBA fan, and even more specifically a Kobe Bryant fan. Shout out to the Mamba listeners out there. And I originally come from a tech background. I started a business with my father called Leak Smart, which was the first ever company to invent a ball valve that detected and shut off water leaks. So as I was getting deeper and deeper into my Airbnb experience, I was able to see an opportunity in the market to develop a new type of software to make it easier for investors to go from 0 to 1, 5 to 6, 10 to 11 units, and eliminate a lot of wasted time. The market I'm sure we'll get into that later in the podcast, but that's a little bit of highlights. And I don't know if I said I'm the oldest of 6 kids, so we have a very loud family, Israeli-American background. So that's about all there is. I'm pretty boring.
Dude, Yoni, I love that, man. Kobe fan, so I'm a forever Kobe fan. So we're already connecting there. And birth order. So you're the oldest, so you're supposed to be like the boss, basically. You put everybody in a place.
It feels like you get blamed for everything when you're the oldest.
There you go.
How did this happen?
You're right. I love that. So maybe walk us through a little bit of the product that you've created. That sounds really interesting. I think there's always a huge opportunity with analyzing, picking markets, and people always have a hard time with that. So walk us through, what it is that you created and so the listeners can learn.
Yeah. So like I said, I got into the Airbnb game in COVID, and I found myself confused and lost half the time. Everyone would say to me, get a MASH visor, get AirDNA, put in an address, but there's an ordinance, but there's a law, but there's a permit. In some places you need a permit, in some places you don't. Well, how do I know which markets are better? You kind of do, but then you need $1,000 AirDNA subscription, which I did not have the money to do. I just spent all my money on my furniture. And so I felt like all the ingredients were all over the board. And I felt like I didn't understand why there couldn't be one tool that gave me what I needed for a much more affordable price. So like I said, I have a software background, and I basically decided, I said, okay, AirDNA does their thing. MASH Visor does their thing. They're amazing companies. Rabbit does their thing. How can I quickly sift through live for sale listings or for rent listings? And I just need to know what their average daily rate is, and I just need to know what the occupancy rate is. That's all I need to know. I don't want to underwrite anything. This is how the idea started. Since evolved, but I'm just speaking of how it began, the initiation phase. And so I decided to build a tool really for myself originally that did this, because I wanted to quickly jump across markets nationally and be able to see, okay, what's Joshua Tree's listings for sale right now? What's Smoky Mountains Pigeon Forge telling me right now? What's Miami telling me right now? And I wanted to link it to Zillow, Realtor.com, all these different sites. Like we're not, we still link out. And so that's the tool. We also include the ordinances. I have a team that calls all the counties, cities, townships. Sometimes it's state. And we find out what the local ordinance is in the area, the local law. For people who don't know what ordinance means, it's the Airbnb law in the area. And we also list the last time we call. So we're calling every single week. We're calling, we're pretending to be Joey from the bar that was interested in making one Airbnb. We don't want to sort of set a red flag that we're like a blue chip STR software business, because they may not answer the question. But basically, I'm trying to consolidate all the main information so you can quickly get rid of all the wasted time. That's the basic product. We're adding a bunch of features in the next 2 weeks we can get into, but I don't want to ramble for 25 minutes. So that's their gist.
No, man, this sounds amazing. I mean, listen, you are cornering the market on exactly everything. You was raffling off all those things. I'm saying to myself, yep. Yeah. And I think that's super cool. But man, like all of us out here always want, that tool that's going to take us to, the next level. Like, what was your mindset behind that to sit there and actually get this thing done and get out there?
Yeah. So I probably should go deeper on my family background, which probably a lot of people in the Airbnb space don't know, in the real estate space don't know. So I come from Cleveland, Ohio, which I would call it a medium-sized city. And in our city, in the Jewish community, which I'm a part of, my family, my father, my great uncle, my grandfather Mel, my great uncle Armin, and my father Larry were and are a big reason why a lot of these like institutions are built. So if you drive around, I grew up, what I grew up saying, which is a lot of different. A lot of people came from nothing in the real estate world, but I did not come from nothing. I came from a lot. I came from Waxman Torah centers on a building, Waxman Chabad Center, Waxman Mikvah, and that set a lot of expectations for me. And in my family, there's a particular obsession over the oldest. There's something in the Bible we don't have to get into. But there's a particular expectation that, like, if you're a Waxman, you have to build a business that allows you to be very charitable. Whether it be you build a synagogue or you help somebody pay for their tuition, which is something my family did a lot. In COVID, our family's business got into a lot of trouble, and so without my siblings have told me not to be overly vulnerable about the details. So out of respect to them, I'm gonna not say everything that happened. Let's just say a business that was around for 100 years and was a blue chip consumer products business for a long time lost a lot. So lost a lot in battle. So the business that I thought I'd be working in, and LeakSmart was a part of that business. LeakSmart was a division of that business. I thought I'd be in it my entire life. I thought I'd never leave, just like my father and just like my grandfather. I thought I'd marry a girl, move to Cleveland, which is not, I love Cleveland. Shout out to the Cleveland listeners, but I'd rather be in the sun. I thought I'd have to be in Cleveland, driving to Bedford Heights, Ohio. If anybody knows what that is, sun never shines there, although it blessed us with a lot. And I just thought that was going to be my future. And it quickly realized, if anybody here is into Jordan Peterson or anybody like that, I know we're going to talk about mindset. He talks about total responsibility. And when I realized, like, holy shit, I'm not going to have this business that I really thought from birth, I'm just going to be in this business my whole life. I had to get passionate about something else really quickly. I had to get curious about things really quickly. I had to try and fail a bunch of things really quickly, which I did. And I could talk about some of the things I tried and failed if you want to hear about it. It wasn't just Fetch It. Like, I tried other things before Fetch It that failed. And I had to become my own entity in my own business, and I had to get rid of a lot of my limiting beliefs, which we can get into if you want. And thank God, Fetch It came around. I love the name. I love the business. I love the market we're serving, and I love the customers. When we went to SDR Summit with the Robinsons, everybody is helping each other, and I can just tell you that coming from a different industry that's much more competitive, that's not the case. So it's really a pleasure to be with you guys and to be in this new, highly collaborative market. Hope that's a good answer for you.
Yeah. So just walk us through, what's your mindset around overcoming failed businesses or businesses that maybe didn't pan out as you thought they would?
So the question, what flashes before my eyes when you ask me that question is a Tony Robbins clip that I feel like I downloaded from TikTok. Maybe I watched the long form version also, which is basically like, you are your standards. So what I want people to listen to is like, I couldn't sleep at night thinking that the Waxman family would not have a business that would be a vehicle for charity. That was my whole identity. I'm like, I'm going to work in this business, and then I'm going to give a lot of charity, and that's like my life mission. And then one day I'm going to grow old, hopefully very old, pass away, and then my kids will do the same thing. And that's how it's going to go down. And when it became clear, like, it wasn't going to go down, I'm willing to spend all my life savings. This is really and live like a cockroach and go on unemployment, which I currently am doing still. Okay. To make sure that I get a business. I started a solar business after the arbitrage deal that went to zero. I started a different software business I really don't want to get into that went to zero. And I tried them very quickly. And by the way, 20 grand gone, 30 grand gone, 26 grand gone. Fully selling my stocks, taking that, risking the capital gains tax, taking that money, putting it into the business, because I'm like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to have something. I don't care if I go to zero. I don't care if I go. It was like, worst case scenario, I live with my parents for a long time. Worst case scenario, I don't care. And here's where the limiting beliefs come in. Everybody's in that Instagram world, right? Oh, what's it going to look like if I'm single, living at home, starting my business? Don't care. Can't go to the club anymore? Don't care. By the way, I had a broken engagement this year. My ex-fiance broke up with me a month ago. Okay. Why? Because when she met me, I think I attracted somebody from a place of like extreme security. And then I think when you go to extreme entrepreneurship, you're extremely very different. I'm sure if she was listening, she'd say like, oh, that's not true. But at the end of the day, you attract from where you're at. And so I think that was a huge paradigm shift for myself, for everyone, and all my friends too. So you have to.
So could I interrupt you there, like on that piece, because I think entrepreneurship is not for everybody, and people really are uneasy with the idea of like the highs and lows that come with entrepreneurship. Walk us through, like, okay, so if you, like, let's say in a future relationship, what sort of expectations should be set for somebody that's going to go on this ride?
My grandfather, who is my mentor, and people can Google him. His name is Mel Waxman, and he's still alive and kicking, just as aggressive as he was probably at my age. Always says to me, and I take his advice very seriously. Listen to your elders. Is you need to see your partner under different stressful situations. And whenever I go to these short-term rental conferences, the SDR Summit being one of them, I see a lot of husband and wife teams. Like specifically at the Robinsons event, I probably met 4 or 5 husband-wife teams. The wife is acquiring, the husband is designing. The husband is acquiring and building, the wife is designing. Whatever the combination is. I'm like, okay, they got there. So being somebody that hasn't had that yet, I would say the stress test I would look for is to look for extreme support early, and maybe not and ignore any sort of, like, obviously you need to be attracted to your partner, but I would almost encourage them to look for, as a young guy would look for the attractive character, the attractive girl, I would say be as equally as enthusiastic about signs that they're very supportive and encouraging you in your passion, dream, mission. You know, I know Conor McGregor has sort of lost it over the last few years, but if you read about how his partner supported him early on, that's a good story to look up.
And that's really good. And I just wanted to mention, you said that you was a kid of 6, right? And the oldest. I'm actually a kid of 10, right? And I'm the youngest. So,
Wow.
so we got the oldest on your end and the youngest on mine. So I get the big family situation, right? But there's a lot of things that you mentioned here. I'm just kind of looking at my notes because, this limited belief, and you mentioned just about you are your standard, and you just mentioned when you're looking for a partner, the partner should see you in all your different types of stressful situations. So, I mean, I think so many people can resonate with all of these things, right? Like, how do you put yourself in a position to succeed? Like, what books are you reading? What are you watching? Who are you talking to? Where are you going to ensure that you attract all the things you need to overcome the limited belief, to make sure that you are your standard and, and everything else that kind of goes with that?
So I would say like this. I'm a God-fearing person. I'm an observant Jew. And so I have a lot of faith-based thinking. I don't believe nothing's out there. I believe everybody has a purpose. And I think faith, whether you're Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, is very important, especially in the entrepreneurship game. So if you ever read Think and Grow Rich, which is a great book, I would say to start there. It's just like the first book you should read before becoming an entrepreneur. It talks about influencing your subconscious. That's a very, very important book to start with. I would say the keys that have gotten me over my limiting beliefs is, I would say, a couple different things. Number one, I have 2 very, very good friends that are very successful in the real estate game before I even entered the real estate game. One of them, we have a group chat called the Light Club, which is basically a bunch of guys in a bunch of different fields. Some are, Hollywood writers on some major TV shows that you have seen commercials for. Some are guys that own gas stations across the United States. And we literally never talk about their business. Never. We just share books. Some of the writers, we have Deepak Chopra, we have Eckhart Tolle. I'm reading a book right now by Eckhart Tolle called The Power of Now. I'm about halfway through it. Everything Eckhart Tolle writes is like, it doesn't matter if you're Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. What I'm trying to say is it teaches extreme presence. It teaches you how to combat your own anxiety. A lot of people don't know how to get really calm and still. When you get really calm and still, whether you're meditating or reading the right books, like I meditate from time to time, but I would say my books and my book club and the couple of friends that I've acquired by luck, by God, have been the reason that I've been able to quiet my mind, get rid of any angry thoughts, get rid of any blaming thoughts. When the business started having problems, I had a lot of anger. I'm a very extroverted, hot personality guy, and I had to struggle with, like, my brain would have this like monkey mind, like, we should have done this. Why didn't we invest in this product line, and this product line, and this product line, and this guy that we hired is an a-hole, and this guy that we hired is a moron, and this, and why, and I didn't get responsibility over X, and I would have done Y. And I had to learn how to, like, almost like, have you ever seen Doctor Strange, where you go like astral planting? Like,
Yes.
I need to like come out of myself, get still, and those books gave me that power. So I hope that's a good answer for you.
No, that was great. And, I like how you talk about being calm and still, because I think a lot of people struggle with that. I think there's just a lot of ideas in your mind and trying to manage those things and all of these what ifs. So let's say a listener wants to join a book club or kind of, follow your suit. Like, what are some recommendations as far as, where people can find something like that?
So where can people find something like that? I don't see, my book club came about very organically. I have a best friend. My best friend runs a business called, if you guys want to look it up, it's really an amazing business. called at Traded NY. Basically, he has a business where he's socialized the transactions between realtors, buyers, sellers, lenders, and sort of publishes it on Instagram. And he's given me a lot of amazing guidance as I've sort of seen him go zero to a very big business. And I've met a lot of these book club people through him. But I would say there's a lot of books. Like, read books by Tim Grover. Get into Tom Bilyeu. Get into Dr. Wayne Dyer. Get into
There you go.
what you want to do is you want to get as close you can to enlightenment. You want to read books that teach you how to deal with your own shame, your own guilt, your own apathy, fear, anger, pride, neutrality even. There's some people that struggle with passion that are just neutral all the time. You got to study that. You got to get as close to acceptance and love and joy all the time. If you have nothing positive to say, don't get into sort of that gossipy, angry frame of mind, because I know it sounds tacky, but guess what? As long as you're doing that, you ain't thinking about the next fetch it. You ain't thinking about the next Airbnb. You ain't thinking about the next podcast. You ain't thinking about nothing. And until you can understand that your mind has only a certain amount of bandwidth, and you got to only fill that cup with good stuff. I mean, like, if you don't like anything I said, you could read Matthew McConaughey's Green Lights book. It's another amazing book. And if you want to be a part of the Light Club book club, DM me on Instagram, and I'll just ask you if maybe the guys will be cool with me adding you. But if you guys are into that sort of thing, we're always looking to expand. But those are some, I would say, some quick bullet points of things that people can get into and order on Amazon.
Listen, I believe, I tell everyone that, I don't live this light switch life, right? And a light switch life is, you wake up, you cut this switch on, and voila, you're here, right? I believe, that you pour into yourself over time, and you develop, habits of taking in ingredients. So what are you watching in the morning? What are books? What are you reading? All the books you just named, are all so many fantastic books out there. And the big thing that I heard you say is that it gives you some peace so you can now focus on exactly what you need to focus on. I mean, look, you done took some big hits, and this is really for the listeners. I want you to really understand this, right? Yeah. Is that you out there, you say, hey, I invested in this company, spent $20,000, lost it. Invested in this company, spent $30,000, lost it. Invested in this company. The one thing you didn't do was stop. You kept going due to, your strong belief, due to, the life that you're living, due to the ingredients that, you put inside. So I just want to say, just from me to you, super-tastic. All right. But hey, man, let's get more into your software, right?
Yeah.
So, Fetch It, right? So Fetch It, like, who is your avatar? Who are the individuals that should be coming out, getting the Fetch It application?
I think the avatar will evolve with time, and I'm sure we'll have large business customers with time. But really, they're people. We started off, our avatar is people like me, because I built it for people like me. People that want to have a short-term rental and don't have any yet. That want to own a short-term rental that don't have any yet. That is not included in the market cap of Airbnb. There's a huge amount of people that are sitting on the sidelines. People that, I just did a street interview. There was a psychiatrist from New Jersey that signed up. DM me, says, I want to sign up. He's a psychiatrist, makes a lot of money, wants to buy an Airbnb. He has no time. Same way when I was still working for my family's business, I had no time. He's like, I'm sitting on a boatload of cash. Just want to know what'll make money. Turnkey, boom, go. There's a lot of people like that have a different career. They're not going to quit everything, go on unemployment, break their engagement, break their marriage to just kill themselves to be an entrepreneur. They're already making a lot of money as a lawyer, as a doctor, as a whatever, and they want to invest in a short-term rental because we all know that it's more profitable than long-term rentals, which is why we all like it. And it's more fun, and it allows for more creativity in the design process. I would say the customer avatar is probably that person going 0 to 1, but we've lately had a lot of people with 10 units wanting to go to 11, 11 units wanting to go to 12. And just to add one more thing, I'm going to talk about a future feature we're launching in 2 weeks because it's going to expand the customer avatar from where we started to where we're going. We're launching a division of the company that's going to be just offering virtual assistants that are pre-trained on Airbnb. What does that mean? It means they know how to use Guesty, Biddable, Wheelhouse, all the softwares that people are using on Airbnb. They're going to be already trained on it. That's going to be a part of the platform. We're also going to be launching a limited edition of what we're calling coaching. So we're having a new construction coach, a midterm rentals coach for traveling nurses, Airbnb arbitrage if you want it, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if people, and it's going to be, 30-minute hour calls, and we're working on the ongoing side. But that's going to expand the customer avatar, because I'm sure we're going to get more sophisticated people as we launch more features. But it's really anybody that doesn't have time, that wants to invest in Airbnb properties, that just has money and no time. That's the perfect avatar, no matter the age. You could be 65 or 35.
So could I ask some like technical questions around like what specifically or how you pull the data? So let's say I'm going to a market, and let's say I just pull up Miami, and then it spits out the daily rate and occupancy. So you said it'll pull that data out. There's such a wide spectrum. So how do you, I guess, get that data? Because from one platform to another is a 75 percentile, 50. Like, how do you, I guess, determine that data?
I'm going to answer your question, and then I'm going to give an added answer. That's okay. So first of all, we have an amazing team working at Fetchit, that what we do is we analyze Airbnb listings by the city, and we come up with our own average daily rate and occupancy rate. And that is, it's different than other people, and I'm sure ours will get more sophisticated with time, right? Because right now we're still on V1, and we're looking at using artificial intelligence to spit out some really crazy metrics soon. So, TBD on that. So that's what we're doing. We're pulling live listings that are for sale, and we're just presenting a dashboard of like, okay, I'm looking up Cleveland, Ohio houses, because I can search for houses, land, or apartments. I can search for just sublease option or purchasing. So there's an option for people that are looking for equity, and there's options for people with less money just trying to get in the game of arbitrage, which I was once in that game. And so I wanted to make that option for people. We're pulling from listings that are publicly available by the MLS. So if it's Cleveland, Ohio, I always list Cleveland, Ohio, because like Zillow just did a whole thing on Cleveland's one of the most attractive markets. Shout out Cleveland, LeBron James, where I'm from. Okay.
Progressive too.
What's that? Oh, Progressive. Yeah.
That was my former employer. So I've been to Cleveland many times.
Shout out to Formula W2. What up? So that's awesome. I didn't know that. Amazing company. The founder of Progressive has an amazing story. Jewish guy locally from here. Amazing story. Anyways, so what was I about to say? So that's how we're presenting the data. We are working on doing things a little bit differently than any data company has presented data before. Our V2 and our V3 are coming out soon. We're going to be using AI to be able to quickly filter for properties for sale very quickly. We are working on the OpenAI API right now. We're testing a bunch of different things to see what kind of features we want to slowly roll out. So we're playing with different things right now, beyond just listing average daily rate, occupancy rate on live properties for sale, which saves you time. But I'd love to get to the place, which we're not at yet, which would be like, I want beachfront properties above 70% occupancy, spit them out. So we're looking at doing things like that in the future, which is going to be really exciting. My goal is to fetch you your property in the shortest amount of time as possible. So we are going to use all tools at our disposal to make that happen. So literally, all you'll be able to say if you don't have an Airbnb at some point and you have the money is you're on your couch. Because if you're not using Fetchit, guess what? You're just emotionally in your own way, because Fetchit can get you a property under contract like in record time. We're adding a lot of cool stuff soon.
So let me ask you. So I'm always on the move, right? And when I'm moving, I'm normally not moving all the time with my laptop. Like, can I use Fetchit from my phone? Does it, your phone, laptop? I mean, tell me about that, man.
Yeah, great question, Lenny. So right now, we're on V1. It works for mobile and desktop. It's not an app, it's a website. So there's a difference. But we will have an iOS and Android app in this year that we're going to be launching. So you can use it from your phone. you're just going to be using Safari, Google Chrome, or whatever browser you're on. Okay, so you can log in that way. V2, V3, V4, we have a very robust product roadmap. You know, when there's an app, probably there's some new features we're looking at that's just going to be on the app that's going to be pretty amazing. But you can use it anywhere, everywhere. Just in the United States right now, we do have plans to go international. We've had I've gotten a lot of DMs from potential customers saying like, hey, like, could you make this available in France? Could you make this available in the UK? Could you make this available in Canada? I love those kind of questions. Thank you. It means a lot. We have our hands full to the US, just trying to get that, do a great job there first. But then we will conquer the world eventually.
So as far as even markets, so there's like tier 1 markets, tier 2 or 3 markets. So a lot of people know like the major markets. So can I just input any of those type of markets, or is there limitations around like certain cities or states as far as like the data that you guys have collected so far?
So the limitations so we're recording this February 13th, 2023. So if this is released in a month, it could not have that limitation anymore. But as of February 13th, the day before my birthday, what up?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Boop, boop, boop.
Oh.
Yeah.
Always a problem when you're born on Valentine's. It's always a problem when you're born on Valentine's Day if you're in a relationship. So back to that relationship thing. That's a good test also to see how they behave on your birthday and Valentine's Day. Anyway,
Got it, man.
yeah. But anyways, limitations are, we have some limitations right now in the filter for like, you can't limit by purchase price right now, which is really stupid. I know. And you can't search like a state. You have to put a city and a state in your filter. That's a little bit annoying. That's confused some people, where like people have been signing up. It's like, I put in Florida. It's like, no, put in a city in Florida. Put in Panama City Beach, Florida, Miami Beach, Florida. Another limitation might be because we're collecting dirty data, what I call this dirty data. My role model in the business world is the CEO of CB Insights. If you guys want to look up CB Insights, they've built an amazing data business, a B2B data business. I listened to the My First Million podcast a lot because he did a interview about dirty data. But we're calling counties, townships, cities. Sometimes they don't give us the information, and sometimes that might just mean there is no ordinance law in the area. So we do have one limitation where I would say, in a market where we really don't know the ordinance, we have a button called Request Ordinance. So if we get enough requests from customers, like, I need to know this random town in Illinois, or this random town in New Mexico, or this random town in Texas, you'd be surprised how random. We go out and work really hard to get it. And that sometimes takes us 24 to 48 hours. Not bad. But I would say that is a limitation as of February 13th, the recording day. I would say those are two serious limitations that we're working on fixing. But the major markets we have covered. So like all the top 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, even more, 100, top 100 vacation rental markets, the traditional, the Pigeon Forges, the Seviervilles, the Joshua Trees, the Yucca Valleys, the wine country, the Corpus Christi, Texases, the Fort Myers, the et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, my brain is just rattling off what I can remember.
Yeah, no, those are all good ones.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, the laws are loaded in. So yeah, it's dope. I mean, it's cool.
I like the name.
Yeah, the name is good. The name should basically, and the reason I originally called it Fetch B&B, now I call it Fetch It, is because actually it was Renterific, then Fetch B&B, then Fetch It, is because we're eventually going to go beyond short-term rental data, and I didn't want to B&B in the name. And I already have a product plan for going beyond. Like we actually have long-term rental predictions in the property page too, so you can see what your STR estimate will be with your LTR estimate, because in the underwriting, important to be able to do both. Like, okay, well, if I bomb out as an Airbnb, what's going to be my long-term rental? Yeah.
No, that's good, man. That's good. Listen, like, I'm blown. I'm not. This is my first time hearing about the software, so I'm really looking forward to using it myself. And I'm really looking forward to that. But look, I know you got some new features coming down the way, so we'd love definitely to have you back, to talk about that. But before, what does Find Your Freedom mean to you?
That's a great find your freedom. I think that's a very deep question, and it's a very good question. It's good you guys asked that question. It's an excellent question. So I'm thinking as I'm talking. But I would say the first thing that comes to my mind is the very generic answer of being your own boss is like the best feeling in the world to me. Being able to express my creativity and testing if it works or if it fails is amazing. I even love that I was able to spend that 20 G's on those businesses that failed, even though 20 G's for me at the time was a significant percentage of my life savings. Being able to develop the confidence and the instincts through those failures, and then finally a business that succeeds, and being able to be my own boss, where if I want to work out at 11:30 in the morning, I can. If I can do my work sprint from 12 to 4, go to the gym, go back to work. I can chop it up however I want. It's no longer 9 to 5. It's not as set. I don't have to work on a project and I'm told you can only work on this function within X project, when I know that maybe we're doing it wrong and maybe we can do it better if we were just open to a few different suggestions. That's what find freedom means to me as of February 13th, 2023. And I'm sure it'll evolve, but at the stage that I'm at in my entrepreneurial journey, I would say it's amazing to have the freedom to fail, develop those instincts, and then finally succeed. And then within that, have freedom of schedule.
Beautiful. Hey, man, listen, where can, they find you? Where can they go to fetch it? Just let them know.
Yeah. So, I made my Instagram public. I used to be very quiet on social media, and now I'm becoming quite loud because I'm promoting, the company and promoting our podcast. So the first thing you can do, the best way to reach us is on Instagram at Yonatan Waxman, which is YON like Nancy, AT like Tom, AN like Nancy, Waxman, as it sounds, wax, then man. And then you'll also find my link tree there. But if you want to go directly to the Fetch It Instagram, it's at fetchit.ai. And if you want to find our podcast, right now it's only on YouTube. Just search Yonatan Waxman -Fetch It. We're going to change the name to Fetch It because it's confusing people. And we originally had the channel name that way. And if you want to go to our website and sign up, I would say go to fetchit.ai. That's just the website, fetchit.ai. That's the website. And as of this recording, we're going to have a redesign published, a V2 of the site going live in the next 7 to 14 days. So it's going to look very different from the day of this recording till 14 days from now, where we're going to make it very sexy. Where else can you find me? If you're interested in working for us, with us, we're open to hearing. People have reached out to me cold saying, I want to work on this project. This is amazing. So to those people thinking that are listening, DM me personally, please, like with a CV. For those people that are looking to sign up and heard it on this podcast, DM me and I'll send you a free week link. That's no problem. Is if you took the initiative to listen to this, the long form way, and even the short form way, I'll hook you up that way. I would say that's how they can find me.
Hey, fantastic, man. Fantastic. So, what we like to do, because we don't have guests here at Find Your Freedom. We have friends, right? So, we're going to do this big boom in a uniform type of way. So I'm going to count down 1, 2, 3, then we're going to say boom. So I need for everybody to take a deep breath, because we're going to sit here and rattle some speakers, right? All right, fellas, let me know if you're ready.
Do it.
All right, I'm getting the nods. All right. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Awesome. Check this out, man. Go get Fetch It right now. Not now, right now, because it's absolutely what you need to sit there and make sure that you have everything you need to make an educated decision on buying your short-term rental. And with that being said, here we always got gifts. Want to make sure that everybody find their freedom. So we put a kit together for you. So go to Find Your Freedom rei.com/freedom kit. Once again, find your freedom. rei.com freedom kit. Now, we need you to listen to this episode. We also need you to leave an honest 5-star review. All right, because that's the way that we are able to put out more and more and more content like this. Make sure you share this with your mother, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle, all your friends. Hey, take the link and just email it out to everybody on your email list. Until the next episode, we talk to everyone soon. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to Find Your Freedom. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. While you're at it, please help us spread the word by leaving a rating and review and sharing the podcast with friends, family, and colleagues. Until next time, get out there and find your freedom.